Agree with me? Better a living dog than a dead lion. Hey, you haven't read the Bible. It's very, very important to understand what God is saying. So I thought we need to start a thanksgiving item. That if you're a man and you're alive, you have to thank God. Today, we are talking about being an ideal man. Because there is the initial man and the ideal man. And we want to discuss throughout today, what does it mean? What does it mean to say I'm a man? I'm an ideal man. I'll start part one with discussing the tributes of the ideal man, and then we'll have part two where we'll compare that ideal man with the usual man. How is man today? The usual man. And finally we'll finish with the third part, talking about the vision. How does the ideal man look at the future? The vision of the ideal man. I start with quoting an article that I read that says that in Australia today, 80% of suicides are of men, and suicide is the leading cause of death for men under the age of 44. In other words, you would assume that men are the ones with the courage. One of the responsibilities to lead their family and give them hope. But the guys without hope are men. Isn't suicide a sign of lack of hope? Would you agree with me? Nobody ever commits suicide because of problems. Problems do not cause suicide. Anybody who commits suicide is because not only do they have problems, they cannot see any hope. They cannot see the possibility of a solution to the problems. That's why you find somebody with a small problem committing suicide, and a guy with a big problem soldiering on. Have you noticed that? Because you see, the difference between the two men is one has hope, the other one has no hope. And so this sign of men committing suicide is men without hope. And you know, the one thing that Jesus came to do is to rescue us from hopelessness. To be a Christian and without hope is a contradiction of terms. So throughout today, we will be talking about things that can help you to be a man with hope. A man with hope. In talking about the ideal man, I'm looking at the scriptures. Because, you know, man is God's creation. And because he's God's creation, only God knows what he meant a man to be. So if we are going to talk about an ideal man, we must of necessity talk about what does God say about man. It is very interesting that you are a man, but you are many things at the same time. Seated here, some people call you a boss. That's all they know about you. This is my boss. Now for Muse and I, who are long retired, that term has disappeared. But there are days we were called boss. Oh, that's my boss. And of course, in our time, we used to retire very young. We used to retire at 55. So we retired as small boys, you know, being called, made mistaken for being old. Now, things have improved now. You are not retired. Because for us, to call somebody 55 an old man is a joke. Don't you agree? It would be a joke because somebody like Giorgio, who retired early, lived another. You know, he died at 105. Do you remember? That means after 55, he lived another 55. I'll get the joke. So it's young. But the point is, you are here as a man, and the role God has given you is to lead workplace, to be a leader in your workplace or wherever you are. So when you talk about hope, it's your responsibility to give hope to workplace. Even when COVID has given hopelessness in your workplace. But some of you are here as somebody's parent, again, even for Mzee and I, who don't have children around us, we have grandchildren who need hope. And you are here as the vehicle God will use to give your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, if He gives you some, hope. And when you are not giving hope to those people, you are failing as an ideal man. You are still a man too, but you are not an ideal man. That's your role. You may be actually wonderful as a boss, but as a parent, you haven't done very well. That's the example you have of King David. King David was a wonderful boss, but a hopeless parent. Somehow his family was full of scandals. You remember one of them, a boy is raping the sister. Isn't that terrible? Another one, Absalom is actually overthrowing the father and sleeping with his concubines. Now, terrible things happen. You need to understand that you can be a wonderful man at work, but a useless parent. And some of you, as far as somebody is concerned, you are a husband. You are, all they know, you can be a boss, that's irrelevant. You can be a parent, that's irrelevant, but you are my husband. And if you do not give your wife hope, my friend, you are not an ideal man, but you are still a man. Because there is a big responsibility. It's because you are her husband. When she is hopeless, talking to her gives her hope. Of course, for that to happen, you must find your hope in God yourself. Because where are you getting hope? The tuition is as bad for you as it is for them. It is your connection. You are hooking up with the God of hope that's giving you hope. But some of you are here as the senior brother in your family. Your parents have died. You are now regarded as the head of the home. And there are lots of quarrels over inheritance. It is your responsibility to bring peace and hope in a clan that has confusion. That clan held together all the while until your parents died. And now there is lacking hope. And as a man, it is you as a senior brother that is expected to give hope. And if you are not giving hope, then certainly there is a problem. Because that's your role. Oh, that's my older brother. But the other day I was speaking in a conference, and the bishop is the younger brother of one of my friends. And they said, he said, yeah, you're my brother's age mate, yeah. You know now that our parents are dead, he's our senior brother. When he talks, we listen. And of course, the guy you're talking about is my friend. He was my housemate when we were bachelors before we got married. That's the role. And some of you, I wonder how you are playing the role. And that's very important. But some of you are actually clan leaders, not just your immediate family, but your grandfather's family, and you have two grandfathers. You are seen as a leader. Question: are you giving hope to the clan? Or are you the source of problems in the clan? That's where they see you. But of course some of you are political leaders. And God is expecting to give hope to the community, hope to the constituency, hope to the ward. The MCAs, what do they call the area of the MCAs? It's a ward. Okay, the word. You're supposed to give hope to that community. That's what we came here to talk about. The ideal man is multi-skilled. Because if you are good in one and not the other, you still have a failure. Because you are all of it at the same time. You can't be one good and the other one not. You require God's help. Just look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. I am saying the due man reflects the image of God. Let us make man. How? To become our image. When anybody sees man, he sees who God is. Can you see the difference now for man? Woman at that time is not created. Am I right? No woman. In other words, every man is supposed to become or reflect God's image. Let us make mankind in our own image, in our likeness, so they may rule over the face of the sea and go on. So the ideal man reflects the image of God. You know, I keep saying one of the problems, and that's not my topic today, one of the problems we are getting slowly into is that slowly many families are being led by women. Am I right? In fact, the Nation newspaper did a study the other day, and they said in many primary schools, 60% of the kids come from single mothers' homes. There is no man, there is a woman. And they have become so prevalent that if you come from a home with a father and a mother, people think there is something wrong with you. But that thing is so bad that the other day there was the story written, again I'm taking it from Australia, where the children were being taught about families, and the children were being asked, in your home, do you have father and mother? The teacher knows the family of one of the children. We are Christian parents, they have father and mother. But the child wrote that in her home, she comes from a single mother. So, this teacher, of course, marked the work. But then when they met with the parents, he said, are you aware that your child wrote in an essay that she doesn't have a father? So they confronted the child, why? He said, Mama, I don't want to be harassed. He said, how? People are the people who have fathers. Can you see how well we have gone to? Where you have to apologize for having a father. It's so normal not to have a father. In fact, some single mothers now tell their children, do you see how lucky you are? If you have a father, do you see how the mama so-and-so is always beaten? Do you see how the son so-and-so is always... Now that's what a father is. Are you not lucky that you have no father? So the children are very happy that they have no father. That's why we have gone. Why? Because the ideal man is not giving the image of God. If you are harassing your wife until she feels she is better off single, if you are harassing your children until they feel they are better off without a father, is that the image of God? Is that the image of God? No. You need to understand, if you are going to be God's image, you must be like God. Jesus said, be perfect because your Father is perfect. And you have come to this conference to be reminded. The idea of doing something crazy, and then you say, but you're a man, I'm a human being, I'm a man. Don't you remember? Man is supposed to be God's image. You have not, listen, how, my brother, how could you be seen with a dogo? What's wrong with you? But I'm a man. I have feelings like a man. Some are pastors say, I'm a pastor, but remember I'm also a man. My friend, I agree you're a man, but you're supposed to be an ideal man. An ideal man gives the image of God. It is not to compare yourself with the pastor, compare yourself with the bishop, compare yourself with the general secretary, is to compare yourself with God. That's what God is reminding me as He is reminding you. He created them as His image, to reflect His image. You know, when you see a photograph, assume your children are settled in America, and you don't have the fare to go to America, and they don't have the paper, so they can't come. So every time one of your grandchildren is born, you are sent a picture. And he said, this is my, you have never seen a child that you are showing people, look at my grandson. But you have never seen. What have you seen? The image. He looks like me, he looks like me. But you have never seen him. You have never seen his image. That's the way the world is supposed to look at. Every time they look at man, they are supposed to get the reflection of God. Back to my discussion about single parents. The child of a single mother has to pray the Lord's Prayer, and it has not changed. It doesn't say our mother who is in heaven. What does it say? Our Father. Unfortunately, after the child now knows fathers are terrible, it's good not to have fathers, then go to the Lord's Prayer and say, our Father who is in heaven. You know, the idea of our Father who is in heaven is that just like your other fathers, there is a Father in heaven. The moment you create a confusion in the mind of a child about fathers, you have created a biological confusion. Because that child has the image of God as a terrorist. Somebody you want to avoid. Then you pray to the same God. Can you see the confusion? And all that has fallen because of men who have not given the correct image of God, confused women who have ended up thinking it's normal to be single women, and in the process of singleness, they have created a confusion that is not allowing children to know God. That's why you cannot be a man in your family and be careless about it. You want to create in your children an image of God. You know, in Ephesians, Paul talked about fatherhood. He says, Father, God from whom all fatherhood draws its name. In other words, if you are called a father, you are a father in the lineage of God. You are a father representing God. And so the way you behave as a father is supposed to tell the child how God behaves. My prayer is that as we are in this conference, God will help us clearly to be people that are going to understand that responsibility is ours and we can't avoid it. And you are either confusing people of who God is by the way you are living, or creating the correct image. The ideal man reflects the image of God. And you are not an ideal man if you don't reflect the image of God. In whichever area. Is it in the way you worship God? Is it in the way you relate with others? Do they see the image of God? And as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. That's why when there is something that is wrong, learn to repent. If, for example, you have lost your temper and talk badly to your children, don't let it slip. The moment the Spirit of God shows you what you did does not represent God. Go to your son and say, son, the behavior yesterday is not godly. I just want you to forgive me. I've also asked God to forgive me. That way your child knows that at that moment you are not representing God, and therefore will deal with it. But if you make it look normal, you know, I gave my wife a piece of my mind. Now you did. Is that godly? Does that God create God image? If it doesn't, in the presence of the children who saw you quarrel their mother, please go and say, what I did yesterday was wrong. I have been convicted by the Spirit of God. I am asking for God's forgiveness. Forgive me. Because that way you erase the wrong image people are creating of God. But you know, the African man, to apologize to your child, is that easy, man? No. But the ideal man apologizes. The ideal man admits when things are wrong. The ideal man does not keep giving a piece of his mind. You know, if you keep giving a piece of your mind, soon the mind is empty. After all, you have been removing pieces of your mind. So it's important to understand when we are talking about the ideal man, he doesn't do what he feels like. He doesn't do what he chooses to do. He does what God wants him to do. Because he is the image of of God. That's really what we are here talking about. And that's in every area. For example, maybe you are the procurement manager of your family and you are buying a plot of land. Through that whole process, until the title comes out, the other person is looking at, are you an ideal man? Can they see God in the way you are relating with them? As you remember buying a plot of land in Yongatarongai more than 25 years ago, and the agent, once I was introduced to him, I said, you go to church? Oh, no. We have to buy and sell land even on Sundays. I have no time to go to the young man. I told me he doesn't go to any church. So I was trying to evangelize him, even with the roses. And he told me, by the way, he said, although I was very young, 25 years ago, I was much younger. He said, please understand, the process begins in Gong. When we finish with the Gong, we shall go to Kajiado, and in each place, there will be money without a receipt. So I asked him, you mean bribe? No, it's not bribe. It's just money without receipt. I told him, any money without receipt will not come from me. But if you don't give it, this process will take forever. So I asked him, young man, haven't you been saying Jesus is coming soon? And it's going to come even before we finish the transaction. What will be the value of land after Jesus comes? Let us go at our speed. If it takes long, it's okay. If Jesus comes earlier, I will not need to give the money. He says, then you take forever. I said, it's okay. Let us take forever. But anyway, we went through the process. Sure enough, it will not move that fast. But finally, we were in Kajiado. Now we are finishing with the Masai, everything done. So finally the thing is done. They cancel the old title. Now the Masai gets his title, and I'm getting a new title. You see, the people in the office have realized I'm paying nothing. I'm not giving anything. So they say, wait a minute. We'll see what you do, because there is no way the title will come out without something. So my guy came and said, by the way, these guys are saying they need typing fees. So I asked, did I get a receipt? He laughed. I said, but I told you, I don't pay money without receipts. He says, but they have refused. Now I was working for Shell, so I asked for permission. Those days from Nairobi to Kajiado was less than an hour. There were no traffic jams. So I calculated I must finish at 1, because in the afternoon we are having an industry meeting in Caltex. So I said, at 1, I'll wait. At 1, if they have not typed it, we just go and come another day. He says, Mr. Nanga, they are not asking for much. I think it was 200 shillings. And the guy knew I had thousands in my pocket. So it doesn't make sense to him. How can I refuse you 200 or 300 shillings and you have to go and come back? So you see, a bribe is not the amount. A bribe is the idea. I will not give them any money without receipts. Then the guy said, they will not type unless I give typing fees. So now we are stuck. We just sat there with my wife praying. And I had said at 1 o'clock, just drive back to Nairobi and come another day. And keep coming until the day the Lord touches them. So that's what we are praying about. You know, we 1 o'clock, about 1:15, I could see at my watch, now we are just about to leave. A man came in with a bald head and he said, Nana, what are you doing in my office? I couldn't quite remember him. Hey, you are here. I need help. No, he said, come. So he went to the office and he asked for tea. I was not recognizing him. He says, you can't remember me? I was too crowded behind you. When I was in Alliance in Form 6, he was in Form 4. So he was very excited to see me. What happened? Where did you go? These are many years since we were at Alliance, since I left him at Alliance. And by the time he came to campus, I think I was out. So by the way, we are talking, catching up, and by the way, the Nana's house I saw earlier, be your house. Yes. He called the house. Has Nana's title been typed? No, by then now it's 1 o'clock. No, of course it was not typed. He told them, no going to lunch until the title is, the guys who refuse to type during office hours, type during the lunch hour, free of charge. And I'm enjoying my cup of tea. Finally, it was sealed, and I was able, a few minutes after 1, I was able to drive with my title. Hey, that young man went saying, hey, umeona leo. A few months later, the guy rings me and tells me, will you believe it? What? I am now born again. The guy that could not attend church told me, he went home and told the wife, I now know if there is Christian and Christian. I met a man with money who will not give even a little money and would rather use it and spend it and wait on God. And his God remembered him. He said, he told the wife, now we'll start attending church. He attended church a few months. He finally gave his life to the Lord. Last week, I ran him just to check. These are people who have been years later. He told me, oh, my son is now an adult and I'm walking with the Lord. He gave me a testimony many years later. It all came from my examination at Kajiado office. Am I communicating? You need to understand, when you see the dear man does not do what is easy, does not do what he feels like, he does what God would do. What would God do in similar circumstance? What would God do if he had a wife? Of course he can't have a wife. But if he had a wife as difficult as yours, what would God do? That's what we are supposed to do. There is what a Kikuyu man would do. We are not discussing that. I'm talking about what God would do. That's what really matters. I don't know if you have heard of John Wesley. John Wesley is the founder of the Methodist Church. The biographers say there are few men who had a worse marriage than John Wesley. John Wesley preached all over Britain on horseback. He actually traveled thousands of kilometers. And he had a wife. He married late. He married in his 40s. But the wife had a level of jealousy, trying to think that any woman around John Wesley is trying to marry him. One day, she just got an impression he must be up to nothing. And he was far away from their home. She got into horseback, followed, because she imagined he must be spending time with women. He arrived to find him on the pulpit preaching. He went for him, took him out of the pulpit. It's like a mad woman. Beat him up on the floor and he's not replying. Bang, 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 bang. She beat him up until she was tired. When she was tired, she went and she bumped out of the church onto her horseback and went away. For him, he collected himself. You know, the whole church is watching. He collected himself, wrapped himself, and then started again. As I was saying, and he continued with the sermon. The biographers tell us more people got saved in that night because they not only had heard the gospel, they had seen the gospel. Am I communicating? That's what we mean by being God's image. That's what we need to ask ourselves as men. Because sometimes you feel like, hey, he cannot do that to me. But you know, Jesus came to earth. They did all kinds of things on him. He could have called a legion from heaven of angels. Did he do it? No. That's what God is asking. What is it you are doing? And you feel justified to do it. Ask yourself, am I representing God in this particular activity or not? That's really what we are talking about. So if you relate with your wife, and some wives can be very difficult. Do you agree with me? If you have one, just sorry for you. But be a man. If you're a man, people will know. For Okeko to be able to do this is so and so in his own. Okeko is representing God's image. Because you also can see, you have a very difficult wife, and yet you are cool and collected. Sometimes she insults you even in public. She embarrasses you publicly, and you are just smiling. What do people say? Hey, that guy has patience times 2. Hey, if to be a Christian is to be like Mr. Okeko, certainly God is in his life. But some of you, all you need is for your wife to forget to cook. And you arrive and the food is not ready and behave like the devil himself. Now, all of that is because you have forgotten the role of a man is to reflect the image of God. I want us to spend a bit of time because, like I said, with adults, you don't speak to them. You expect them to discuss. So in groups of four, that means people in this role, you can talk to each other behind. Four people. Just ask yourself, who are the 4 people you are going to be with? Maybe we say you move to this other side and discuss. So we all become speakers. We all share with one another, helping each other on this issue of becoming God's image. So can you identify who your other 3 partners will be? Just move to the group. Just move to the group. Where you can hear each other without shouting. Four is maximum because beyond that you will shout. Okay. Now, are the questions on the board? I can't see the board. Are the questions on the board? Okay. The first one is, in which way do men among your friends depict God's image? Give several examples which shows that you know a man. It can be you, but don't tell us who it is. And that man acted in a way that depicted God's image. That's why we are helping each other. In which way do men among your friends depict God's image? Number 2, in which way do men among your friends not depict God's image? What is it a man did? You say, that one, it did not depict God's image. We are helping each other in order to identify an application to what I've been saying. Finally, the third question, what do you recommend is done to help them depict God's image? If you have a man who is not depicting God's image, and you say your friend is a member of this church or another church, what would you recommend changes him so that he can start representing God's image? Are the questions clear? Yes or no? I'm not saying are they easy. I'm just saying are they clear? they are not easy, but are they clear? Okay, you have 10 minutes. 10 minutes. So don't spend a lot of time. There's no debate. It's simply sharing. Just share in 10 minutes, beginning from now.